Hi, this is Tim from ThinkMOVE.ca, and I just finished listening to a really interesting podcast from NPR's Planet Money, and it was about gym memberships and the different techniques and strategies that gyms do or implement to get you to sign up and not show up. And it's interesting because the whole notion of gyms and going 3 or 4 times a week is sort of the main sort of models of how to get healthy and how to get fit. Ironically, I think only 10% of the people that sign up for gym memberships actually use the gym, and actually using it on a regular basis, it might be an even smaller percentage. One of the stats that they cited in this podcast is that out of 6,000 people that sign up for the gym membership, only 300 people showed up regularly. And people seem to overinflate the frequency of their actually visiting the gym. So what are some of these strategies that they talked about? I mean, I recommend checking it out. The podcast, which I'll link at the bottom of this little thought bubble. But one of the things they cited is that the gyms are created by architects that may not actually be fitness experts or actually people that frequent gyms themselves, but they model gyms after the atmosphere and the vibe of bars. And so when they were describing these different things, I noticed, like when you see, for example, a Good Life, the first thing that you see is not necessarily weights or cardio machines, but actually the reception areas and the towels, because you're trying to convey to you that it's a place of ease, or it's a place of comfort, and it's just not a very maybe sincere depiction of what happens in a gym. So all that aside, I mean, I think the realities of what fitness looks like is different than the model that the ThinkMOVE approach advocates, which is one of movement and not necessarily single bouts of an hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes of acute exercise, so single bouts per day, but rather movement throughout the day where you're beginning to implement healthy movement that disrupts sitting time, and you're stimulating the body's various systems, hormonal, muscular, cardiovascular, throughout the day. So you have a steadier stream of both physical stimulation and activation, rather than just dreaming about maybe one day going to the gym. And it's a pretty ubiquitous fact that many people have many people have gym memberships. A large majority of people, 50%, as cited in this podcast, have gym memberships that they never use. So, I mean, it could be considered a sad fact, but I think it's just acknowledging the reality of what gyms do, or the way people engage with them. It's just not part of the majority's way of being healthy. And because there aren't easily accessible ways to be healthy, not many alternatives to that, people just generally lose their health. And the business model that gym memberships function under, a large majority of them, is under one that fails, that doesn't work for people. They look a certain way and they attract a certain person that's not necessarily actually a fitness person, but one that would like to see themselves that way, which is great when you have sort of a goal. But I think it's not so great when it's just a fantasy, and when you're just being sold on an image of what you could look like and what you should look like, and not actually something you can action and bring into your daily life. So where does this all lead you? What can you do about the realities of gyms being behaviorally something that's not necessarily accessible? I mean, you could invest 10, 20, 30, $50 a month into a gym membership. But really, I guess what I begin to advocate, and the first step towards health, is reconnecting to what your body needs in a moment in time. Not necessarily the exercise that you need to do on the weekend and become a weekend warrior, or 3 or 4 times a week, or 5 or 6 times a week, but just in this particular moment, taking a second, maybe more than a second, maybe a minute, to ask yourself, how am I feeling right now in my body? How am I positioning my body in relation to whatever I'm doing, whether I'm doing some chores, or whether I'm sitting at the office, or whether I'm driving in my car? How much awareness do I have of my posture, of my breath, of the way that I'm using my energy, right? Or maybe how much fuel I have in my body to do the things that I need to do, whether it's needing to be fueled by food or needing to be fueled by rest, having a good night's sleep. And I think when we begin to consider health in these kinds of ways, when it's not just about singular solutions, whether it's going to the gym or eating this very specific fad diet, or wearing a specific device on our wrist to measure how much we move, when we really begin to tap into the connection to our body in all moments, in these micro moments of just checking in constantly whenever we have a moment to consider, how am I using myself? How am I using my mind? Am I stressing out? Am I ruminating on the same issue over and over again? And it's not just about the physical body, but I think it's just how we use ourselves in every moment of the day. So I'd encourage you to get into this practice, which we call body awareness. And throughout your day, just ask yourself, how am I using my body? How am I using my mind right now? And that could be as simple as checking in with your actual physical positioning. It could be checking in with your breath. It could be checking in with your stomach. It could be checking in with sore spots in your body where you hold tension. Whatever it is, start the conversation with your body and start listening to what it has to say to you. And this is, I think, a different approach than just thinking about the gym and thinking about the shoulds that the media or advertisers or corporations tell you you should be doing or how you should look, and really beginning to tap into the needs of your body in a moment in time. And I think that's really one of the key principles of movement and ThinkMOVE, and beginning to really implement health in every moment of your day. So I hope this has been a useful riff on gyms and health and body awareness. And if you found this useful, maybe you might share this with people around the office or people in your family and in your home, to begin to encourage a different kind of a mindset. One that doesn't need a specific kind of equipment, but one where you're constantly and frequently checking in with yourself about, how are you doing right now? How are you feeling? And what do you need right in this moment, by the way of connection with yourself, connection with other people, maybe a stretch, maybe some deep breaths, whatever it is. See if you can hear that and see if you can start to act on it. And that's pretty much the formula, if you want to call it that, of ThinkMOVE. It's starting in awareness and then moving towards action. So I hope you have a great day and that you'll be in a loving, compassionate relationship with your body. Take care. Bye.